Hello there.
Ew.
Here we are. Another Cannabis and Conspiracies. I'm the conspiracy. He's the cannabis. Today we're going to talk about I guess the goat of conspiracy, the alien abduction stories. It's like the one that kind of like kicked it all off. It's the first one, at least the first one that got like widespread coverage and a lot of fascination or whatever. Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, it's one of the bigger ones. That case, and of course, the Travis Walton abduction are the two
Right.
biggest abduction, I think, cases ever documented.
Yeah. But that one came out before Travis Walton, so Travis Walton had trouble with his credibility because people were accusing him of imitating these because they had like a television special that came out on them right before Travis was abducted, and so everybody's like, "Oh, you just made it up because trying to be like Still Their Thunder or whatever." But it is what it is. Uh,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, back then, back then, you can't throw a rock without hitting somebody that's either seen aliens or been abducted by them. But it wasn't exactly common back then. But it is what it is. Anyway, so
well, I've
Betty
never
and
been
Barney, huh?
abducted, so
How
it's
what?
always that. I've never been abducted, so that's good.
No, you have seen them though. So
Yeah, a little bit closer than I would like, but
I imagine so. I imagine so. Uh, yeah. I don't know. I mean, the thing that's very compelling to me about this story of Betty and Barney, who ride over Belmont's shoulders, if in case you don't know who they are, they happen to be an interrace couple, mixed race couple, and this is back when that was not a like that was very frowned upon. Uh, they basically are married. It was like 1961 when this happened, right?
I believe it
And
was 60. Was it 61 or 63?
well, let's say 61 right here, but you've been at it a lot longer than me, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was 61 actually. Never mind.
Okay, all right, all right. But yeah, but they were on their honeymoon when this happened, so you know, this is. I mean, when you think about the world at that time, it just doesn't make a lot of sense for people to be like, "Hey, look at me, look at me, look at what we're doing here." At that time, that was liable to have some people with hoods show up on your front porch. It's even in that New Hampshire. I mean, yeah, at that time, it's just the races did not mingle that much. This is pre-civil rights, um, and so for them to suddenly like kind of like bring that on themselves, is a little odd. Barney and Betty were also civil rights advocates, so they even had that going for them. Where there's a lot of scrutiny involved, and you want to if you're like advocating for something, you don't want anybody to have anything to like question your credibility. And so when you look at, I mean, it just doesn't add up that these people would just be, hey, this weird, crazy thing that means that we might be insane, happened to us, so, uh, also, I think also interesting enough that they didn't really start recounting this stuff until they went under hypnosis because they're
Yep.
having nightmares, and so that's also an oddity in this thing where they didn't like really have the recollection of these things until they started getting like a hypnotherapy, and it all came like tumbling out. Did you see the session? The
I've heard it before, years a
Yeah,
while back. Yeah.
yeah. It was like they didn't like really. They weren't like prompting them in any way. It was almost like they had to get it out. So, um, And I think it's interesting when you see their accounts side by side. They're both recounting something, the same incident, but they're recounting it from different angles. And if you got people that are like have the same story or whatever that have rehearsed it, then you don't find that complexity in their, what they tell you. It'll all be like from one person's perspective because one
Yeah,
person
it was
came up with
very
the
similar
story.
stories, but different.
Right,
Because they were
right,
doing different stuff to him versus what they were doing to her. And it wasn't the
yeah,
same experience for both.
right. And it seemed like they wanted to, research the human reproductive system. When you look at what was like being done to them, which would be highly embarrassing to even recount back in '61. But hey, they had my genitals out. I mean,
Yeah. Last place I want to be is on a table with an ET touching my dick. I tell you that.
hey, I don't know what your kinks are, man. I don't know what your kinks are.
That's not on my bucket list.
That's not on your bucket list. Okay, all
No.
right. Getting fluffed from a gray. Okay, it's not on Belmont's bucket list. Okay, noted. Yeah. In 1975, the UFO incident came out, which is a television movie, and it's like the first big like abduction story that was put like on the screens, and that's back when television was huge. I mean, there's television and nothing else. There's no cable. There's nothing else but the 4 or 5 channels you had back then. I guess it was 4 channels: ABC, CBS, NBC, and I don't know. There's a 4th one. I can't recall at the moment.
CNN.
No, not CNN. It was years and years away.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I can't remember all the alphabets off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean, so for one of them to put out a TV movie at that time, I mean, you had some pretty significant TV movies out at that time, like the Burning Bed that came out around that time, and the TV movies I guess Roots was coming out about that time. So TV movies was like the big thing at that time. So for them to put a movie out like that, that's pretty significant. I guess you could say there's like before that happened and then after that happened. The TV movies like really, really. A lot of people are like, oh shit, people are being abducted. What? Abducted by aliens?
What's going on?
Up to that time, there was like movies, but this is like a TV movie. This actually happened. Oh crap! Holy crap! Oh no! Better check back of people's necks and see if there's an X. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the alien movies were like really a big thing, back then and everything. But what would you say is the most significant detail that they gave out that you find there? That
the smoking gun.
The smoking gun
is it's the star map.
Ah, the star map. Yes, the star map. How do you explain the star map?
How do you explain that?
Well, I mean, that's a good one. That's definitely, wait a second, what? Yeah, that's definitely an oddity. But yeah, so she sees this star map and they showed it to her basically because she asked about it. They showed it to her and she was able to recreate it rather crudely, but then somebody took that star map, an actual astronomer took that star map and found the two planets, or the 2 stars back to back, 2 systems. They were like close to each other, Reticula 1 and Reticula 2.
Yeah.
And so It is what it is. I mean, I don't know how you explain it. I know that you see that movie K-Pax. You ever see that movie?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Yeah, that had a similar. That had an incident. I guess it was based off of it. Where he's
Really?
like drawing on his car map.
And then he like disappears at the end and goes back to Melmac or wherever the fuck he's from. K-Pax.
Melmac, that's Alf. That
Yeah,
Melmac is Alf. Anyway, K-Pax. It's in the title.
Yeah,
Belmont, pay attention. K-Pax. It's in the title. Anyway, I like how they left it open. Was he there or was he not? And the fact that all these crazy people are like, "Who's that?" Like they were seeing somebody different the whole time. It's pretty incredible. Interesting.
Since then, a lot of people who've accused Kevin Spacey of things have mysteriously died.
Well, I guess that's one for another time. That's another conspiracy we can explore another time.
Spacey's hit list.
Except he won't let us go into Clinton's Arkansas. He won't let me explore that. He's afraid he's afraid he'll wind up suicided on a dead end road in the middle of the night. Well, I
don't want to jump off a high rise like that guy from Bed Bath and Beyond or whatever it was.
Oh, right. Yeah. Anyway, back to Barney and Betty Hill. You said you had a slideshow for us to look at. All right. Let's check this out, guys.
Let me get this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Find it.
Uh-huh.
Where'd it go?
You gotta have this stuff queued up, man.
I have it queued up, but I just can't find it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Look under tabs.
There it is.
There it is. Aha! We are onward and upwards. Here we go.
Okay, here we go.
All right. There's the couple right there.
Nice, couple. They look happy.
Yep.
Let me zoom in here. Get it a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Just a nice couple.
Right.
Even had a little dog.
Dotson, yeah. I saw that. I think her name was Darla, maybe. Said she was not having it. She was not happy about the alien, so she was like curled up under the seat.
I bet.
Yeah, she's a little traumatized, I guess.
I think it's his pictures from after the accident, which they got all the attention from all the
they don't look as happy anymore, do they?
No.
Now
it's all serious.
Yeah.
This is a marker that they have in New Hampshire. Where
they actually put a marker down for it?
Yeah, where it supposedly happened, yes.
Oh, okay.
On the night of September 19th to the 20th, 1961, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, couple Betty and Barney Hill experienced a close encounter with an unidentified flying object in 2 hours of lost time while driving south on Route 3 near Lincoln. They filled an official Air Force Project Blue Book report of a brightly lit cigar-shaped craft the next day, but they were not public with their story until it was leaked in from the Boston Traveler in 1965. This was the first widely reported UFO abduction report in the United States.
There you go. That's the first one.
I gotta go there one day. Put that on my bucket list.
Yeah, that Blue Book, Project Blue Book, keeps showing up. We might need to do one on it someday. There you go.
Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
I think this is like a artist rendition of what Barney drew, and then like he enhanced it. Did a really good piece of art from his small sketch.
That's the ship. That must be what they modeled the ship from and Escape from Witch Mountain. With
a lot of windows with occupants in there.
Right. The one that they had was like a saucer shape, but it had like
Well,
windows in it.
I
to
seen a
see out.
UFO, but it shit had no windows and no occupants that I saw. I probably would have shit my pants if it did. Yeah, so that's the picture that he drew right there. That's his artwork right there. And if you look,
there's that puppy. 57 Chevy. Wow, very nice.
Yeah, see.
There's Darla, the little puppy dog.
There was a bunch of them, I guess, they got
Dodson.
him.
Yeah. It's a little tubby. Yeah, that looks.
That's what it looked like to him. Barney, I think, drew this when it was about 200 feet. It said it was about 200 feet high.
Right.
And there was red lights on the sides, and then there was all these windows, and
how's that compared to what Travis saw? Is it similar?
I don't think Travis said anything about windows and able to see.
No, I don't remember him saying anything. No, I remember it was a disc shape though. Oh, okay.
This is actually a sketch that Barney did.
Oh, okay.
It looks kind of like Shadow Matt drew it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
That's where Shadow Matt got his style.
Right.
It's still kind of creepy. It looks like he's got a hat on though. Like, it's like he's like one of those bullies from back in the days.
Maybe exposed brain, maybe. I don't know.
It's a weird sketch, man.
Yeah.
I think he drew it like right after hypnosis.
Right.
And this is like a more detailed sketch. I don't know who did this, but this is what that other sketch is supposed to be. You see that he's got like a hat on, and the other one, it looks like, see that?
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like groovy or something from the 70s or something, Or he's got like a conductor
like he smoked
hat
a lot
on.
of weed.
You think he got like a conductor hat on or something. And this is like a bust they made, I guess, of the creature of that drawing.
Yeah.
Yellow eyes. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Don't hear much about that. I have big eyes, bigger than usual eyes, but the color is not usually referenced. It's usually black, I guess.
And there's Betty with that same bust.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she made it or they got somebody to create that based on their sketches. I don't know.
Well, they were kind of hippy dippy, so they probably had some people with ceramic knowledge around.
This is the legendary dress that Betty wore.
Yeah.
She knew well enough to actually keep it, that it might be of great importance later on.
Right.
So
right.
Most abductions, they actually throw away their evidence. Like maybe they'll have like something in their nose and a little piece of metal will fly out, and they'll just throw it out or flush it down the toilet or whatever little evidence they have.
Right.
In this case, she actually kept her dress, and she asked one of the aliens. She said, this is a once in a lifetime chance. I'm aboard an alien craft. I mean, can you guys give me something that I could bring back and that I can, prove to others that this really happened to me, that I'm not nuts? And the leader was like, yeah, sure, you can have one of those books. And they had some like books, I guess, on a shelf or something, and they told her that she can have one to bring back. And then later on, they never let her take one. They changed their mind or whatever, or they lied to her. But
or maybe somebody was like overstepping their boundaries or something. What are you doing? Get that book back, dummy. Yeah,
that's her. That's just a picture of her wearing the dress.
Oh, okay.
So that's hers.
Yeah, right.
And then that's you're talking about the TV movie. This is when it hit the papers that they were making in a movie. Here's a still from the movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A very, very high budget film.
Yeah. Looks like Roger Corman did their special effects there.
It wasn't Stanley Kubrick.
No, no.
There you go.
Oh, James Earl Jones was playing Barney.
Look at how young he is.
Okay, yeah.
Surprised they didn't have like Bill Cosby, you know.
Right. Well, I think they're thankful for that now, but you know.
And there's
there's the drawing, yeah.
That's that star map that she drew.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting. She said that there was like interstellar travel routes, but then they had these other routes that were for like exploration. So people,
that's what the lines are supposed to represent, like a dotted line versus a solid line. Is like,
yeah,
if they visit it more often, or like the routes they take. Yeah,
I guess if you have like a super highway, you want to make sure people aren't running into each other. So that makes a little sense there. So this is the route you travel on, and this is the direction you go. Otherwise, you'll be running into each other. So,
and this is like basically matching it up with the Rosetta Reticuli star map, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Galaxy, or
I don't know. That's pretty cool stuff, though.
You know, it's not that far away, too. I mean,
no, they said that Reticula 1 and 2 were actually closest to each other of any star systems they know of as of yet. Said they're less than an eighth of a light year from each other, which is actually closer than we are to the sun. I'm not sure.
And they can bend space and time. They can get, just go wherever they want pretty quickly. They can get to our solar system or whatever pretty quickly.
Right.
That kind of technology.
Yeah.
But the case is kind of original, because most alien abduction cases, when you're talking to these grays don't really have conversations with you other than relax, we're not going to hurt you or whatever. Other than that, they don't really talk to you. You don't make small talk, ask about how your day was or what kind of work you do. They don't really give a flying fuck. Their mission is to whatever it is to get from your body, whatever, study you, take whatever blood samples,
probe the animal, and move on.
They're not there to make friends and small talk. But it seems back then, they were more friendly, I guess, or more talkative. It seems that their story is different than the rest of the stories nowadays.
Right. Yeah, everything they're pretty much hard relegated to horror genre now. Most of them were. I guess
not just scream and they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? You just keep screaming on the table or whatever. Back then, they would have a cup of coffee with you.
Yeah, Zeta 2 and Zeta 1 Reticula. Yeah. Did you know that the crossover, the guy who actually viewed the spaceships they supposedly have in storage, what was his name? He was Joe Rogan. I can't remember, but anyway, he said that they supposedly came from Reticula, so that's a little crossover there. So who knows?
I've never been there.
Nope, well, I've never been there either. So I don't know.
One of these days.
You might have to get abducted to go there, though, Justin. You sure you want to do that?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So they kind of like became the godparents of the UFO abduction like community, and so that they're like the grandparents or whatever, but they didn't remember it. They didn't remember. They just knew they lost like 2 hours, and they were like having nightmares, and so
Well, I found this
Elsie
clip about them telling the story. It's a little small
but,
clip.
yeah, go ahead, man. Shoot, do it.
Betty Hill, now 78 and fondly referred to as the grandmother of UFO abductees, will not make the 50th anniversary of Roswell. But her belief that a flying saucer went down in that desert has never wavered. In many ways, she says, it was just an ordinary UFO crash, carrying travelers much like those who encountered Betty and her deceased husband, Barney.
September 19, 1961. Barney and I'm driving home from Montreal. Saw a strange light in the sky, which changed direction, came in, started following us. In an area known as Indian Head, it came out over the highway, stopped in midair, and Barney got out with the binoculars in an attempt to identify this craft. You know, the old-fashioned straw hats that men used to wear, the flat crown and the brim, that's what it was shaped like. And then along one side, it had a big picture window, and it had dividers in it. And as he's looking up at it, and he could see people standing in the windows looking down at him, and the craft began to descend, and he had the feeling they were trying to kidnap him. He ran back to the car. We went speeding down the highway to avoid capture, and then later they were standing in the middle of the road blocking our way. This is what we saw when the car motor stalled out.
I see.
And they're separating and coming up towards us.
This is your view, then, of the UFO people from out your car window?
Right.
Okay, so I count.
This is our first view.
This is about a half dozen there.
Actually, there were 11.
Talk to me about the features in here and what you remember. I mean, look at this one's face in particular. Tell me what we see there.
You can see they're very human appearing.
Yeah.
Only here, you know, the eyes are wider spaced than ours.
Okay.
See?
Right.
The nose is smaller and a thin slit for a mouth. No hair, no protruding part of the ear. We were taken on board, and we were told to relax, no harm was going to come to us, and we did. And they did some testing of both Barney and me, and showed me the star map of where they were from. There it is.
Yeah. Well, okay. This is the map you drew.
Yep.
Now, this is amazing, because how much did you know about astronomy?
Not a thing. About 6 weeks later, Barney and I had gone out in the evening, and when we came home, on the kitchen table was a pile of dried leaves, which wasn't there when we left. And when I went to clean up the pile of dried leaves, there was my blue earrings I was wearing that night. See, the experience itself happened in 1961, but it was not known until a Boston newspaper reporter found out about it. And it ran for 5 days on the front pages of the Boston newspaper. I went on TV. I was questioned by F. Lee Bailey. And then I sat down and had lie detector testing in front of the whole country. And I had very, very high ratings for honesty and truthfulness.
Whether you believe her or not, Betty still gets letters from well-wishers and UFO investigators the world over.
This is an investigator from France.
Sometimes there'll be a knock on her door, a fan dropping by for an autograph. And every once in a while, Betty will step out on the back porch to get a glimpse of what she claims is another visitor from far away.
Yeah. Wow.
That one with the hat's gonna give me nightmares, man.
Just the T Bunny and the abductees. All right.
What's up, Shadowhawk?
Just us. It's just us hanging out, man. Let me read this right quick. In 1968, Marjorie Fish of Oak Harbor, Ohio, read Fuller's book Interrupted Journey. Fish was an elementary school teacher, amateur astronomer. Intrigued by the star map, Fish wondered if it might be deciphered to determine which star system UFO came from. Assuming that one of the 15 stars on the map must represent Earth's sun, Fish constructed a three-dimensional model of nearby sun-like stars, i.e. stars deemed to have characteristics that could support life, such as that found on Earth. Using thread and beads-based stellar distances on those published in 1969 Jalise Star Catalog, studying thousands of vantage points over several years, the only one that seemed to match the Hill map was the viewpoint of the double star system of Zeta Reticula, around 39 light years from Earth. She sent her analysis to Webb, agreeing with her conclusions. Webb sent the map to Terence Dickinson, editor of the magazine Astronomy. Dickinson did not endorse Fish and Webb's conclusions, but for the first time in journal's history, Astronomy invited comments and debate on a UFO report, starting with an opening article on the December 1964 issue. For about a year afterwards, opinions of Astronomy carried arguments for and against Fish's star map. Notable was an argument made by Carl Sagan and Stephen Salter, arguing that the star map was little more than a random alignment of choice points in an episode of Cosmos. In 1980, Sagan demonstrated that without the lines drawn in the maps, the Hill map bore no resemblance to the real-life map. In contrast, those more favorable to the map, such as David Saunders, a statistician who had been on the Condon UFO study, they disagreed. Saunders claimed that a match among 16 stars of a specific spectral type among 1,000 stars near the sun is at least 1,000 to 1 against. So Carl Sagan, and
not a believer.
Well, Carl Sagan, he's pretty much debunks everything. But
he's the one who put a gold record in the space.
Yeah, right. Yeah, brilliant guy, but he's pretty much a skeptic on everything. Okay, 1990s, the European Hippocarchus high precision parallax collecting satellite measured the distances to more than 100,000 stars around the sun more accurately than ever before, showed that some of the stars in Fish's interpretation of the map were in fact much further away than previously thought. Other research revealed that some stars counted by Fish as likely to host life would have had to be excluded by her own criterion. Now, some other stars which have been discounted by Fish have been recognized as potential abodes for life. Results such as these led Fish herself to reject her hypothesis in a public statement. So, okay. So she's recanted since then. Okay. All right.
Yeah, she just randomly put some, some circles and some squiggles, and it just happened to match, that star system. It's all luck.
Yeah. Yeah, well, some people, that's called confirmation bias is what that's called. If you want something to be true, you will twist all sorts of things to make it so. So I mean, that's one rebuttal. There's been several, like the aliens described. There's an episode of The Outer Limits that had showed that year with aliens very similar to the ones that they described, which would have been shown on a television that they owned. It was shown in New Hampshire, so there's that. So I mean, also the whole hypnosis thing. There's a lot of people are kind of like iffy on hypnosis. People being suggestible and things like that.
What's up, 24 Eyes?
What's up? Yeah, Geek Avenger, Hell Bunny. What's up, dude?
What's up,
Good to see you. Good to see you. So I guess I mean this one's not as compelling to me as Travis's is. Just for the simple fact that I mean there are some very compelling things about it, but it's just I don't know. It doesn't the whole thing, where I guess Barney died pretty much young. He had a heart attack or something.
Well, he was a postal worker. I mean,
yeah, that's true. He was a postal worker. So there's a little stress involved. Let's see. When did he die? Hold on. Let me look. Yeah. Barney died in 1969. So yeah, he was 46 when he died. Okay.
Summer of Love.
Yeah, I guess. So I don't know. I mean, that's from they saw it in 1961. He died in 1969. So I guess it was just like 8 years there. She died at 85 in 2004. So she was around a lot longer than he was. But yeah, hold on one second. Barney was not. Hold on. Said experimented for a while. Subliminal graphics. Barney was not old. No, he was not old. Nope, he wasn't old. Yeah. When it comes to like hypnosis and things like that, there's a big like they call it repressed memory in the 80s, and it turned out to be a lot of psychologists trying to make their bones by implanting memories in people, and it like destroyed a lot of families and things like that. There's that multi-million-dollar lawsuit against that I guess it was a preschool in California, and all sorts of crazy stories, and it all turned out to be supplanted or planted information,
Oh yeah, some folks remember things that didn't happen. I remember that. Yeah, some people are saying, that these when they're under regression, whatever, when they're under hypnosis, they are just fed these lies, and that they're led to this path of alien abduction that didn't really happen. That
right,
they're suggesting it to them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know. I mean, on a plus side, this is a interracial couple in the 60s. So why would they want any attention on themselves? But then again, on the negative side, there were civil rights activists, and the civil rights activists were all about getting attention on themselves. On the plus side, they remember the abduction from different perspectives and different angles, and they seem to be recounting the same events, but at different angles. But on the negative side, I didn't remember any details until it was like till hypnosis, So I mean, there's like one detail that I thought was interesting is the fact that when they got back to the car, they were both like giggly and elated,
really?
Like they were drugged or something, like they were on pot or whatever. Anyway,
gave them some good shit before they left.
I guess. But you hear his like account. He's like pretty much like, oh yeah, hypnotists weren't ethical, leading them along like spiritual medium plays an audience, right? Okay. Yeah. Sounds like a MK Ultra stuff. Yeah, it does, and MK Ultra was going on at that time. But anyway, just a few of the things were a little, I don't know, like the fact that the aliens talk to them, and that seems to be the only abduction story that I've ever heard where the aliens were chatty.
Yeah, they're like Chatty McCaffrey's like, yeah, we just came in from Zetaretica, we're kind of tired, but we figured we'd pick you guys up, give you some scoop marks.
Yeah.
See how you're doing.
Fluff your genitals, stick a needle into your vagina, and we're on our way.
Probe your asshole, and we'll be on our way.
I thought this where it's headed because he said he was being carried in, face down. I was like, uh-oh, where's this going? Then later on he had his fly open. I'm like, uh-oh. So it's like, it's a freaky
time to milk the cow.
Yeah. So freaky freak aliens. Uh-oh. But yeah, Betty, for all those years, she's maintaining her stories, but somebody who was like debunking them said that she couldn't tell the difference between a weather balloon and a street lamp at one point.
I found this little clip where their family talks about what they think about it. I think that kind of
Yeah, go ahead. Go
time to
ahead.
drop that.
That's definitely worth seeing. Yep.
I didn't believe them at first, but I saw how much it affected Barney. You know, he became an alcoholic over it. You know, it just really affected him emotionally, that I realized, yes, something did happen, because both of their, you know, their mental beings just changed. They turned into different people. Barney was turned into a very scared individual.
For me personally, I felt that perhaps it would have been easier if I could have said this was a fantasy and my aunt and uncle simply made a mistake. Then my family could just go on living, but I couldn't do that. I wanted to find out for myself if Betty and Barney had actually been abducted, or if they had created and absorbed a fantasy that they retold through hypnosis.
Oh, okay.
She
Okay.
believes him.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, something certainly happened. I mean, you don't change the demeanors like Barney did. Drink yourself to death, you know. Installing a collapsible satellite dish. Okay. I guess anal probe. I don't know. Pretty freaky there. Let's see. Kakushuko says, I hear if cows been killed, anal probes and shapeshifter reptiles. Okay. Yeah, that's your Netflix. You know, that's your Netflix.
Yeah, I heard
view,
one
man.
abduction story where they said they saw a room where there was like a floating cow in it. That was
Oh, really? Yeah. They might have watched Twister too much. I don't know.
I don't like that
Cow.
movie. My wife always wants to watch that shit. I just think it's so bad. I don't know. I didn't like
moments. It had some very good moments in it. Yeah. I actually watched the Storm Chasers for a little while there, and a lot. The reality was a lot scarier.
Oh, those
than what
guys
they
that
were
like drive
portraying.
around in like that tank, whatever, that big armored vehicle. Whatever.
Well, I mean, there was like several of them that did that, but yeah, it was funny. Tim Sedaris, the guy who basically put PAX down and ran away, he was the one that got killed out of that cast, because they kept the pack down and then tried to run away, and they ran right into another one that was closing in.
Those guys are insane, man.
Yeah, seriously. And then one of the guys, like and the one that helped drive the tank, wound up committing suicide because he couldn't handle the fame. So I mean, either way. I mean, you have like stories and things like this that pop up, and then people like they find it compelling, and then suddenly all these other people that pop up with similar, experience.
Oh yeah, that happened to me. My asshole was probed. I remember.
Yeah, I was at the Castro on a Saturday night.
I was fueling up, and this big craft was over my car.
A big craft, or a tall leather daddy named Bubba. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, personality changes, that's pretty compelling too. I mean, I guess the fact is that this was early days, and so these stories weren't on every street corner, so they wound up getting a lot of fame that they probably didn't intend. I think it's also compelling the fact that they didn't release it, but somebody else like leaked the information to a newspaper, and that's how it got out, because they didn't want any people to know what had happened. They were keeping it under their hat and trying to deal with it. Banjo music.
Yeah, I think if that ever happened to me, I want to be like telling everybody with a blowhorn. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to know that shit.
Right.
I don't want to know. I want to tell if I get touched by a gray. I don't want everybody knowing that.
Oh man. Down. Yeah, anyway. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's different ways of looking at it, right? I mean, I don't want to go for. I'm not a pure skeptic, but at the same time, I'm not entirely a believer. Um, but if you look at I mean, with Travis,
A believer in
he's
this
very
case or
compelling.
in general?
What's that?
A believer in this abduction case or in aliens, period?
Well, I mean, aliens in general. I'm not entirely convinced yet. So.
No, wait till you see one.
Well, there you go. I mean, if I ever do, I mean, I'm sure most people won't believe in ghosts until they see one, or Bigfoot, or cryptids or whatever. There's a lot of belief. You're asking people to invest in your story, and there's no empirical evidence. Supposedly, there's a case of unidentified submerged object in the Puget Sound, late 1800s. I had a hard time finding the receipts for that. Oh, okay.
There's all kinds of reports of UFOs, just popping out of the sea or the ocean, whatever.
Right.
People are just fishing, and just pops up.
Yeah.
There's even photographs of them coming out of the water. There's a few of them out there.
Well, Kokushuko makes a point. I noticed the media is talking about the UFOs a lot recently, and in a serious way rather than a conspiracy way. Well, the media is like, don't pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
And I heard CNN's going conservative. Yeah.
Yeah, not happening. I was thinking of the pilot that saw saucers around Mount Rainier at the start of the flying saucer mania. Oh, okay. Well,
he's talking about that. What's his name there? No, I forgot his name. The famous case where you saw like those batarang looking ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the whole entire thing, I mean, yeah, I guess a lot of people like cloud the water, I mean, you got the people that are serious, and you got people like Dan Aykroyd who's see him behind his mailbox every day, I mean, I mean, it's I mean, I guess the most compelling one I've seen so far is definitely Travis. Travis definitely, just laconic as he is, and just as matter of fact as he is, and as unchangeable as his story has been over the years.
Yeah, it was Kevin Arnold or something like that. Or right. Am I thinking the Wonder Years?
I don't know. Kevin Arnold is
it was something Arnold.
Years now. All right. Okay. Gotcha. The mainstream Asian guy, Mike Kamakuchu.
He's talking about. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That guy, that really smart guy. What's his name? Makamushu, whatever.
Right. The guy that was on Rogan was pretty compelling. The guy that was actually saw them with his own eyes. Supposedly was brought in to try to decipher, the technology. He's pretty compelling because he was like his freaking amazing genius. If he was born in the 1800s, late 1800s, he'd been Tesla, and this guy was like, and then suddenly they're calling him a crackpot and saying that he was a burnout and blah, blah, blah. And yet, this guy's still a genius, can still calculate pi to 1,000 places or something like that,
Oh, it was Kenneth Arnold, not Kevin.
Arnold.
Kevin Arnold is from the Wonder Years.
Yeah, Kevin Arnold's from the Wonder Years. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, but I mean that guy is definitely compelling. When you see somebody with that kind of intelligence, and because people that are the more brighter or the smarter you are, the more rigid your thinking is, and less likely to be embellish you are. Especially people that are deep into autism or Asperger's. But then again, you got some. I don't know. You see a lot of these people that come up with a lot of amazing, fantastical stuff, and then you hear them talking. They're Nimrods, I mean, But people like people like Travis, people, well, I guess like Betty, I guess, in a way, uh, who's just like,
Bob Lazar.
yeah, Bob Lazar. That's the guy I was talking about, Bob Lazar. Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a genius. He's a freaking genius. So, what point would he have to like tank his entire reputation? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Anyway, but yeah. So Barney, look them up, check them out, see if you find their story compelling.
The movie's on YouTube if you want to watch it. It's free
Yeah,
on YouTube.
yeah.
It's called the UFO Incident.
Yep. It's got James Earl Jones playing Barney, so worth a watch. Pre-Star Wars James Earl Jones, I guess. I don't know. Star Wars is 75. Yep, Star Wars is 75, right? Yep. Yeah. Check it out. It's an interesting story. If you like UFO, you have UFO information, that's definitely one to watch. I read a lot of Bob Lazar stuff. There's proof he worked at Los Alamos National Labs. Yeah. I mean, they can't like disprove Bob.
Yeah,
so
they didn't
like
teach him how to
marry
make a
Bob.
rocket car in high school, I don't think.
Yeah, he did. I mean, this guy's not no joke. I mean, he's intelligent as shit. The fact that Joe Rogan could sit there and interview him and keep up with him is kind of disturbing too. I mean, how smart is Joe Rogan, really? I mean, I mean, he acts like a big meathead, but there's times you're like, wait a second now. Anyway,
maybe he's a government asset.
I don't know. So, what do you want to cover next week, my friend?
I don't know. I haven't really thought that far into the future.
Really thought that. Well,
I was preparing for this show more than anything. Than
yeah.
This is one of my favorite cases. This and Travis Walton.
Right. It's the two big ones, I think. Two biggies.
It's just that star map, though. You can say whatever you want to say, but it comes down to that star map, which pretty much is a smoking gun, like I said, because what's the chances she just randomly drew something? You know what I mean? She doesn't know anything about astronomy.
Right.
Just happened to draw, something that matches a star system not too far away. And then later on, some of the stars that were in her drawing didn't even know we didn't even know they existed, but now all of a sudden the star map matches up because we discovered them.
Yeah. Right.
To me, that makes it a true story. And I don't, like I said, like we talked about before, I don't think we'd want the attention being an interracial couple back then, unless they were trying to promote, push their agenda or whatever. But
right,
in this case, it's about UFOs. That's not helping any of their causes, I don't think. If anything, it's making them look like crackpots, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's pretty compelling. I can see your point there.
If it ever happened to me, I wouldn't be talking about it. I don't want no fucking TV movie made about it or anything like that. It's not something you'd want to tell, but so I don't know why they would come forward with that. You know what I mean? Why would you, even if it is true, why would you come forward with this story?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, that is the question. I mean, they got nothing from it. They got nothing but ridicule from it, But and it obviously drove Barney into an early grave. So I mean, that's pretty compelling. But I don't know
if they made any money on that TV deal, whatever. How much money they made on that?
I don't think anybody makes money on TV deals, to be honest. No. Except for the advertisers, but it is what it is. I don't know. I mean, I really, it kind of gave, Betty a certain kind of, I guess, celebrity the rest of her life, if that's what she was aiming for. But at the same time, it gave her some infamy too. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of all a wash, if you want to make that argument.
I guess she could have done it for the fame or for the attention.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, it's just a real strange situation. It's a real strange situation. Um, but I don't know. I mean, like I said, I guess I'm kind of like, you know, I mean, there's a lot of compelling for and there's a lot of compelling against, and at the end of the day, it's just like, who do you believe? Who do you, I don't see the reason why they would do it, and I don't see why the reason they would fake it, and I don't see the cui bono, who benefits, who benefits in the long run. I don't see any benefits here. So I don't know. Whatever they saw something definitely. I mean, you don't drink yourself into an early grave, and be afraid of your own shadow if you didn't see anything. So I don't know. But check it out if you haven't, guys. Yep, those information's out there. The TV movies out there. Documentaries have been done about them. Yep, check it out for yourself. We don't make any conclusions here on Cannabis and Conspiracies. We just ask the questions. So
Well, I believe it happened. I believe their story.
Okay. All right. Good deal. So he's a believer. I'm still not convinced, but he's a believer. So there you go. Area 51 or Space Force?
Oh, Area 51 would be a good one. We could talk about Bob Lazar.
Okay. We did Area 51, didn't we? We did Roswell.
We did it in the pilot episode. We talked about Area 51 maybe.
Okay. Yeah, we did Roswell. That's right. Okay. Area 51. Let's do Area 51 next. Good suggestion, man. That's where we'll go. So, all right. If aliens visited Earth, Kakukushuku Papa Shango over there, what's he say? If aliens visited Earth, do you think there would be multiple factions or just the little gray and green guys? I don't know.
I don't see that one.
I don't know. Anyway. It's under Shadow Hulk Talks. Hell Outcast Owls or whatever. Yep. You don't see it?
No, it's not showing me that one.
Oh, okay. No problem. All right. Well, I'm going to have to go here shortly, so we'll go ahead and conclude it a little early today. But thank you guys for coming. Appreciate it. Appreciate the weirdest chat in all of YouTube. Anyway,
I can play this clip while you go or whatever.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, man.
All right.
Later, guys.
Later.
An incident which is perhaps one of the most widely publicized and well-known close encounter cases involved Betty Hill and her late husband Barney. The Hill case has become a classic example of alleged extraterrestrial contact with human beings because it contains elements which are still the subject of heated debate among UFO investigators all over the world. On the 19th of September, 1961, as Betty and Barney Hill were driving in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, they saw a distant point of light which seemed to move erratically. As it moved closer, the light became more intense, Betty Hill remembers.
When we reached what is called the Indian Head area, this craft left the top of the mountain, came out of the highway, and stopped in midair. Barney took the binoculars and started out of the car in an attempt to identify the craft. And as he did this, he saw a group of figures standing in the windows looking down at him. One was saying to him, "Don't be afraid. Keep looking, stay there. Don't be afraid. No harm's going to come to you, but stay there." And the craft started to descend. And Barney ran back to the car, saying we had to get out of there. They were going to capture us. And we took off speeding down the highway. There was a series of beeping sounds.
That was all the Hills could remember about the incident when they finally arrived home, but they both had an uneasy feeling that there was something more. Months passed, but life was not the same for the Hills. Barney suffered recurring headaches. They were tense, upset, couldn't sleep. Finally, they took their troubles to a Boston psychiatrist, Benjamin Simon, who used hypnotic regression to discover the root cause of their distress.
We relived where the ones on the craft were now on the ground, blocking so we couldn't drive. Barney put on the brakes. The car motor died. They separated, came up on each side, took us out, took us in a path through the woods, took us on board, gave us physical examinations. We were being kidnapped.
Betty Hill remembers being able to offer a detailed description of her alien abductors.
They were all shot. The leader, I would say, was my height or just a little taller than I am, and I'm 5 foot. They all had dark uniforms. I shouldn't say uniform. All had a one-piece dark clothing on. And some were wearing jackets, and some were wearing caps, others were not. They were bald, no hair, no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and no earlobes, no ear, we could say. Very large eyes, very small, flat nose, thin slit for mouth.
Dr. Simon was astounded by Betty's hypnotic recall of the alleged abduction, mainly because Barney told him essentially the same incredible story in a separate hypnotic interview. Simon felt the possibility of a hoax was remote. The Hills had obviously undergone a traumatic experience, but was it real or an illusion? Betty Hill describes her experience aboard the craft.
I was shown a star map. When he showed me the map, he said, "Do you know where you are on the map?" And I said, "No, I don't." So I assumed he meant our sun and planets. He also said the heavy lines on the map were places they went all the time. The lighter lines were places they went occasionally or frequently. The broken lines were expeditions. And of course, our own sun system was a place where they go frequently or occasionally.
Through a post-hypnotic suggestion, Betty reproduced the star map. Years later, an Ohio schoolteacher, Marjorie Fish, saw the map and began a tedious attempt to verify its accuracy.
Since the map was apparently drawn from the vantage point of the UFOnauts and not from Earth, it had to be checked out by way of a model rather than using just our sky maps. And so I started to get information on how to build and started building models of the nearby star systems. I built about 22 models in all. When Betty claims to have seen the map, it was 1961. When she drew the map, it was 1964. The original data I worked with were catalogs from 1963 and 1964, and I was not able to find the whole pattern. I did get a large part of the pattern, but I couldn't fit in the last 3 that had lines to or any of the background stars. And when the 1969 Gliese catalog came out, then the last 3 stars fell into place, plus the background stars. And Betty could not possibly have drawn that map from anything that she had seen or could have used at the time that she drew the map as a hoax. Also, she doesn't have the astronomy knowledge to do so. And again, it could not have been a hoax by anyone else on Earth at that time.
According to Betty Hill's map, the lines representing what she called trade routes converged on a pair of stars known as Zeta 1 and Zeta 2 Reticuli. They are barely visible to the naked eye, and those living in the northern hemisphere can't see them at all. Their estimated distance from Earth is just over 37 light years. Stanton Friedman, physicist and noted UFO lecturer, says that according to Einstein's theory of relativity, 37 light years would be much shorter for those traveling aboard a craft than for those left behind.
What Einstein really said is not only that things can't go faster than the speed of light, and he put it in a much more technical fashion than that, but that as you get closer and closer to the speed of light, time slows down for the things moving that fast. So that, for example, at 99.9% of the speed of light, you could go a 37 light year distance, forgetting the acceleration time for a moment, in 20 months pilot time. Now, if you really crank up the engine, put her in 6th gear or something, and go 99.99% of the speed of light, it would only take 6 months pilot time for a one-way trip of a distance of 37 light years. It's mind-boggling, sure, but it's real.
Betty Hill's star map is probably the most convincing evidence of alien visitors to Earth thus far. Dr. Hynek summarizes the Hill case.
Now, what many commentators seem to have missed in this star map situation, and which makes the case truly unique, is that the lines connecting certain stars that were drawn by Betty Hill, who by her own admission knew little of astronomy, just happened to connect only those stars that, like the sun, are capable of supporting life on a nearby planet. The odds against this happening purely by chance are staggering, especially when one considers that of the 1,000 stars in the solar neighborhood, only 48 fall into this category.
Finally, the Air Force has confirmed that a UFO was tracked on radar in the vicinity of New Hampshire's White Mountains on the night of the Hill's abduction. One of the most perplexing questions which remains unanswered is whether the American government knows more about the UFO phenomenon than it's telling.
Oh, they know more. Oh, thanks for coming, guys. And you guys, yeah, you got to check out the movie if you haven't. I was going to play a clip from it, but since you guys are going to watch it, I don't want to ruin it for you. It's a pretty good movie, actually, for a TV film. But next week, we're going to do Area 51. And that'll be Tuesday at 3:30 Eastern. And that's it. Later, guys.
Headline Division, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
And when I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale, and never tried it again.